I'm Harrison Brown from Biking the World. I'm 5,235 feet above sea level, and I'm at Lolo Pass! I'm Harrison Brown, and I'm an adventure cyclist. I'm gonna be biking by myself over 6,000 miles from Fairbanks, Alaska, all the way to Key West, Florida. Every day on the road is an adventure. Let's start pedaling because the adventure begins right now. So I've been told right here in Portland that Killer Burger is the best place for a burger. Well, let's put that to the test and see if this burger is killer. Whoa, that was a killer burger. By far the best burger I've had on this trip. Now it's time for me to burn it off. I had the peanut butter, bacon, pickle burger. It was amazing. But now I've really got to get on the road and burn some calories off so I don't end up fat man on a biking into the world. Portland is one of the most bike-friendly cities with bike shops galore and bike lanes everywhere. But after a few days, it would be time for me to begin my journey east. After spending a few days in Portland, the lovely city of the Pacific Northwest, it's time for me to head east along the Columbia River Gorge, which you can see right behind me. I'm going to be headed east and headed towards Montana. Now, a lot of those challenges that I had when I was in Alaska and Canada and the North Country, I'm trading those in and I'm getting a brand new set of challenges. The next big challenge I would face would be the heat of Eastern Washington. Right behind me is the Columbia River Gorge. That's Oregon over there. I'm actually biking in Washington at the moment, and boy, what a hot day. How hot is it? So hot, I had to stop and take a drink of water. That's how hot it is. Woohoo! I'm getting my sweat on. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Right now I'm standing on the Columbia River Gorge, and behind me is Stonehenge. Now, this is a memorial for Lewis and Clark and their great expedition. They would set sail out in 1803, and when I say sail, I actually mean set out on foot, and they would come along this way. I'm currently biking that trail, but this memorial is to commemorate. This is the exact location where their guide, Sacagawea, would have the baby of Meriwether Lewis. It's from the ashes right here where their baby would grow up to become Sasquatch and go out towards the Pacific Northwest and haunt the woods and the land of the Pacific Northwest for the years to come. Also, what would happen from here is 100 years of mass genocide against the native people of the Americas. You know what? It's a pretty hot day, but as long as you can find some shade every now and then to cool off, it's all right. I'll get by. Pop quiz, what kills more people? Bear attacks or heat stroke? Oh, what are the signs of heat stroke? You start singing songs that rhyme with how much is that doggy in the window? It's about the same size as the symptoms of heat stroke, because the symptoms of heat stroke sneak up on you. Did I bring enough water? I don't know. Hi, Mom and Dad, look what I found. I think it's a tibula. If you want to get heat stroke, you gotta get with my friends. This is a Spice Girl song. Spice is really hot if you add a lot of jalapeno, chili pepper too. This is what you got. Oop-a-doo-ba-doo. This has been a tough day. I'm gonna make it. It's finally cooled off now. You can see the sun going down. For a while today I went a little crazy. That's pretty normal on a typical day, but today I was like, this is not good. Because there's one thing my mama told me, be careful of heat stroke. Do you know what the signs of heat stroke are, she said? And I said, I'm not really sure. And I took off. For the next several days, I would be biking across eastern Washington in 100-degree plus weather. Can I get a Powerade? Yesterday, I rolled into Lewiston right as I crossed the Idaho border. And for the next 70 miles to the east of Lewiston, it is advised not for cyclists to take. It's a small shoulder, a lot of trucks coming by. So it was actually advised to take a bus. It costs $2, you throw your bike on it, they bring you out. So I hung out in Lewiston for about 24 hours. I grabbed some food, I ate about a half gallon of ice cream, and I had a good night's sleep. And now I'm out here on Highway 12 making my way to Missoula. I'm about 170 miles or so out from Missoula, and I'm gonna be climbing one of the biggest passes I've done so far. It's the Low Pass. It's 5,000 feet. I gotta battle elevation and I've gotta battle the heat. I think I can do it though. One thing I absolutely love about traveling by bike, and especially on this stretch from Portland all my way to Missoula, is how much the landscape changes. You know, I started sort of with almost like a dense forest in Portland, and as I got further east, it starts to dry up, very dry, no farms whatsoever, no real agriculture along the Columbia River. And then as I moved even further into eastern Oregon and Washington, you start to see farms, and then you start to see a lot of hay being produced and no trees, very few trees in that area. And then as I got more into Idaho, toward the eastern side of Idaho, you start to see a whole bunch of trees. You can see them behind me, and you see a lot more pine trees, a lot more vegetation. It's really hot today, but it's a lot more tolerable because I have shade. I can find shade fairly easily if I need to. But yeah, it's by traveling by bike that you really get to experience those changes in a much more real time. In a car, you're trapped with the windows up, with the AC rolling, you're going by it so fast, you don't really get a feel for it. But because I've been biking, every little ecosystem I feel and I breathe in that air, and I really have this idea of what the land feels like as I bike it. It's absolutely beautiful. Favorite stretches of my entire journey so far. Same with some of the stuff up in Alaska, but this has just been really great. The roads aren't too busy. It's the middle of the week, and I'm right along this beautiful stream. Even though it's really hot, the scenery is just absolutely great. I have no cell phone reception, which is also great. I just love being completely disconnected from everything and just being myself on the bike and the road. And we just have a great time. That sign means I'm about to hit. After a day of climbing the Low Pass, I had reached the top, crossed into Montana, and soon enough found myself in Missoula. Before long, I had to deal with an emergency. Well, I just had the first flat of the entire trip. That's 3,000 miles with my first flat. I kind of came at a discouraging time of the day. I'm trying to get back. I had a hard time finding a place to stay. So the timing wasn't great, but I was able to fix it. I'm gonna be back on the road. Hopefully everything's good to go. But yeah, that's what you gotta roll with the punches. Roll with the punches, man. I would continue on through the big sky landscape of Montana, going through cities like Helena and Bozeman. And after all that biking, I would find myself pretty hungry, so it must be time for another burger. All right, I'm in Bozeman, Montana, and right behind me is Ted's Montana's Grill, is where I've seeked out that is supposed to be one of the best burger places in Montana. But this place owned by Ted Turner, so you know what that means. I'm gonna be ordering up the CNN burger, baby. It's very controversial.
There you go.
Is that a real word, controversial? Controverse. It's
controversial.
Controversial. Let's try this. Now that tastes like a Wolf Blitzer. And after a tasty burger, I met up with my friend Jay from the Northwest String Summit, who lives in Livingston, Montana, for a little adventure. So what are we gonna do today, Jay?
We're gonna go fishing, man. We are gonna throw some grasshoppers and some streamers and a few other things, and drink about 4 beers apiece.
And for those of you unaware, this is the Madison River in Madison County. This is actually where Clint Eastwood would film his movie, The Bridges of Madison County. This is actually where they filmed it, right here. There's a lot of movies that have been filmed in Montana,
right there,
but that's probably the most famous one. Yeah, you can see that bridge right over there. That is an actual location from the movie, The Bridges of Madison.
How far
Oregon to Livingston, Montana, following the Lewis and Clark Trail. I've battled the heat, the mountains, and the rivers, and now it's time to continue my journey. I'm gonna rest up, and then I'm gonna head on to Yellowstone National Park, Grand Tetons National Park, and then onwards to Denver, Colorado. I'm Harrison Brown, and I'm biking into the world. How far? How far? How far can this dream end?